Riaz Ravat from the St Philip Centre.
And I'm Ruth Newberg, League of Jewish Women and NCW. Do you know that I taught round here in this community for 12 years?
No, I didn't. You probably taught me, Ruth.
It's a lovely community, colourful, vibrant, and I found very friendly when I was teaching.
It's a community which has changed considerably as well. Certainly this area where we're sat in, the area of Evington.
Yes.
I think for the better in many ways as well. The fact that we've got the St Philip Centre here as well, which is a good example of how faith communities can come together for a social good. We've got the mosque across the road, which is a development. We've got, of course, the Liberal synagogue not too far, the Highfields, the synagogue there as well, the Leicester Hebrew congregation. This area is covered with different faith communities and the richness of faith communities and the colour and vibrance that they bring.
In the school we used to do lovely things for the community festivals and get together with parents. The parents were very supportive, an excellent set of parents. Would always bring in ethnic foods for end of term parties. It was a good way of mixing with people. I found the community here very, very friendly.
There's been, I think, a marked shift over the last 10 years, I would say, particularly. I think some of it's down to international events, but also local commitment and local energy about getting faith communities to work close on a whole range of different issues. And our work in relation to Mitzvah Day is a really good example of that, where we've, as grassroots members of faith communities, coming together for a very noble cause.
Well, Mitzvah Day is a lovely, lovely idea because it wants to encourage the interaction of the different communities to do something for the whole, in our case for Leicester, and the strands that have joined together to do something in our first endeavour, in the first year of Mitzvah Day here, has proved so far to be very exciting. I think it's a very good initiative. We've had the backing of our religious leaders and our community. I hope they're going to back us with all really up in the air, isn't it?
There's been a lot of planning and we've encountered some difficulties and obstacles along the way with certain supermarkets, but we've managed to get around some of those issues. I think the persistency and the energy we've shown and the commitment, I think, has been exemplary.
Well, I think the decision to try and collect toiletries for the victims of domestic abuse in their refuge was one which has covered all strands of society, all religions, all ages and all ethnic groups and socio-economic groups. So that was something that really joined us together, because unfortunately domestic violence affects the whole range of our societies. And that was chosen without any dispute in any way. We thought we would collect toiletries and thought that the supermarkets would jump up and down and say, yes, please stand outside. Well, we were disappointed. We sent out 12 letters. We actually went, and we found out that people in charge of organising these type of events were nearly always part-timers, and they weren't there, and they didn't answer the phone, and then nobody responded. And this went on for weeks. Before we actually got a reply, I think it must have been 6 weeks before we got a positive, wasn't it, from the first meeting? Yeah.
It was extremely labour intensive. There were lots of letters sent and phone calls made, but through persistency we managed to knuckle down and get 2 supermarkets to agree to our cause.
Yes.
But we can't underestimate the importance of the cause as well, because you've got women but also their children who are affected, and sections of society, very vulnerable sections of society, which are uprooted and displaced from safety and from comfort, and we're all affected by this. And also, this is also the Mitzvah Day concept. I think is important because we as faith communities are taking a very strong stance, a very strong public stance against individuals who quite often will justify their horrific actions on some sort of twisted grounds, some of which may well be religious, and it's important for us that this is being done not in our name, that as faith communities we stand for peace and justice and human dignity, and behaviour which leads to domestic violence is completely removed from the principles of our faith communities, our faith traditions.
Yes, that is important. Of course, this is just the project that we've decided to tackle for Mitzvah Day 2010 in Leicester as a start-off point, because I think it's sometimes easier to get volunteers involved in something like this. There's some of the more ambitious things going on, like digging up people's gardens for them or repainting a room in a hostel, may not be so appealing to our volunteers as an initial endeavour. But maybe in future years we will be going into old
It is.
houses and singing together.
It's a simple idea, but one which I think should be attractive to all of our volunteers. And the important thing as well is that it harnesses the connections between the Jewish community, and Mitzvah Day has its roots within the Jewish faith, and the other faith communities of the city as well. That this is an opportunity for the Jewish community to lead on a very important project. Alongside other faith communities, and the profiling of the Jewish contribution to social action is critical.
I'm hoping that in future years that there'll be more input. This very first Mitzvah Day here is a Jewish initiative, and it's been our ideas, but I'm looking forward to far more input from the other faiths in future. I think that will be what we really aim to do, isn't it, for Mitzvah Day? It'll still have the name Mitzvah, the Jewish name, but the ideology behind it will cross all the thresholds of the different religious groups.
One of the challenges we'll face is working with our respective faith communities, and indeed other faith communities, to sign up to Mitzvah Day in terms of volunteers or coming out and donating their bathroom items, the shampoos, the soaps, the shower gels and so on. But the way I'm planning on doing that certainly is to send out mailings to various faith communities, individuals as well as some of the faith leaders, encouraging them to cascade the message down. There are also others who will be outside of the faith institutions through community organisations, individuals who've been on some of the courses that we've run at St Philip's Centre, and targeting them and also encouraging them to get involved. And I suppose there's the press and the wider media, and I'm hoping that they show some responsibility and see this as a worthy cause that they can promote, and as a result of hopefully some very good coverage, we'll get some phone calls from the very generous people of Leicestershire who want to get involved in Mitzvah Day. So there's some of the ways in which we'll try and enthuse the various communities of Leicester to get involved with Mitzvah Day.
Because I think our own communities are quietly supportive. I think the good faith and the backing of our rabbi is very encouraging on this matter, and he was very keen that we go on and do it. So
I think on the back of what happened in Leicester over the weekend, where we had the protest with the English Defence League, I do feel that there is a greater impetus now for faith communities to work together, and Mitzvah Day will be taking place just over a month after we had the demonstration in the city. And I do think that there has been this very strong will that we will not have any divisive forces in our city. But the challenge for us as faith communities is now to say, okay, we've had that, but how do we then create opportunities where we do bind together and work together for a good cause? And I think Mitzvah Day is within that spirit, and certainly on the back of the poison that we had in the city over the weekend. And I certainly hope that this year and in future years to come, as well as having other events, that this all contributes towards creating this strapline, what we call One Leicester, and we all begin to work together on various initiatives. And I do think that the impetus is there, and we must continue with that vein.
Yeah.